This is Samuel L. Jackson. Welcome to Sauced Up Sports, mother.
Get ready.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Why do I love you? Talk to me, babe.
Damn it! But I was just about to mute everybody anyway, so we'll just edit that part out. Mark's muted, Phone's muted, and
Oh, good thing we didn't go live.
we did. Yeah, good thing we didn't go live. Thank you, Mark. That was definitely one of the more colorful ways we've ever introed into this show, which is definitely not going to be part of it. But welcome to the inaugural live podcast version of What the Hell Are We? Sauced Up Sports. Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit. I've been on the podcast.
Wow.
It just is what it is. I just want to say thank you for everybody for joining. We got Rone on, we got Mark on, we got Trevor on. And for anybody that might join here in the next, few minutes and everything, you're all more than welcome. Obviously, we're going to bring you in. This is something experimental we're doing. So it might not exactly go the way that we want it to go going forward, but it's a learning situation, okay? So we'll get there together as a group. So to the left side of me, or at least on my screen to the left side of me, we have Derek Skiles at Cold Case Skiles on the Twitter. We also have Ryan Davis as the Pez Choir Fool. That's Ryan talking again.
Are you just announcing all of us?
Well, Derek, I was going to let you announce how can the single ladies find you?
Yeah, if you're a single lady and you're wanting to find me, you can also look on inmatesingles.com under the username Shanker from behind. 69.
Shanker from behind. Not bad. I'm sure that's exactly 69. What your boyfriend used to do. It's always 69, Derek. I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm not even surprised. You know what did surprise me today, though, was this. Earlier, about 4 o'clock this afternoon, Arrowhead time, Adam Schefter started to release the news that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in talks with the New England Patriots about getting Gronkowski, and less than an hour later, the news broke that Gronkowski is indeed, but has been traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the New England Patriots. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to get Gronkowski's 1-year, $10 million contract and a seventh from the Patriots, and the Patriots are going to receive a 4th-round pick from Tampa Bay. What does hey, Brian, you know what? You can go ahead and be the first one to comment on this. What do you think about Gronk going back to play with Tom Brady?
I think he needs to probably put on a few pounds before he tries to get back out there, because I've seen him recently. He looks more like me than Gronkowski. But, yeah, going down there to join up with his buddy Tom Brady, and I just think he wanted out of New England. Without Brady there, he didn't want to deal with Belichick. The way, and also the way that Belichick squirms his way around the draft, I'm sure he'll package some craziness to get up in the draft. I think he's targeting a quarterback out of the draft, and I think that this was Brady and Gronk doesn't scare me, but Belichick out there in New England still just scheming, that it has to be worrisome because it's Belichick. But the Tampa thing, it'll be a fun watch, but I don't think much will come out of it.
Derek, what do you think about the whole situation?
I don't think anything's going to come out of it either. I am absolutely not scared about a probably going to be 31-year-old Gronkowski coming out of retirement. No, he lost 50 pounds. His last 3 seasons, he wasn't even a big giant threat. He had 1,000 yards receiving 2 years before he retired, but he only had 3 touchdowns 4 years ago, 8 and then another 3. He wasn't the same Gronk. He's always hurt. Something's always wrong with him. And now that he's been out of the league, he's not Michael Jordan. You don't just sit out for 2 years or however long the fuck he's been gone and just come back and you're automatically to go to tight ends again. That title belongs to the one and only Travis Kelce now.
Well, definitely one of the things
and still
piques my curiosity is this. Now, the Patriots already came into this draft with a pretty good bevy of draft picks. They essentially traded a guy who wasn't going to play on their team and a 7th-round pick for a 4th-round pick. And that's a mid-round pick, and when you have Bill Belichick in charge of your draft, you're usually going to find a good special teams player, a good accompanying piece somewhere along usually the defense when it comes to Belichick in that portion of the draft. That, to me, scares me, is Tampa giving up what would be pretty decent capital to the Patriots for a guy who's obviously not going to contribute to the level that he ever has before. He's been out of the league now for at least a year. He had already signed a contract with the WWE. He already said that he was happy where he was at, but he's going to follow Brady. I think there's a 99% chance that he ends up in Tampa Bay.
He's the 24/7 champ, everybody. He's the 24/7.
I'm sorry, Kelsey still puts on better celebrations, but it kind of makes you wonder, what was the reason that he got out of the league in the beginning? He did try to cite, injuries, getting hit. He was looking out for his well-being and his health going forward. But if you're willing to put yourself back into the league after a year of being out, probably not the same training regimen, probably not the same diets and things of that nature, and you're willing to put yourself back in that position, was it really that, or was it really him not being comfortable in New England?
That's actually a really good point. Like, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, he clearly just didn't want to play for New England. He wants to play, and he's been talking about coming back for a long time. He just didn't want to play for New England. Even Tom Brady was cited in saying, like, this last season, he knew that was the last season he was going to play for New England. And I think
it's just Belichick. Like, Belichick doesn't give a shit who you are or what you've done or anything. Belichick's always looking forward. Tom Brady's 42, and Gronk is carrying a semi-truck on his back the way he looked like running around out there last time. Like, Belichick's like, okay, bye. I'm going to bundle all these picks, probably move up. I don't think Belichick's going to stay put in the draft at all. I think shit's going to get weird, as it normally does with Belichick, and I think he's going to end up with his new quarterback. Because who's that kid that he's got right now?
Stidham.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared Stidham.
There you go.
Anybody know
Jared
anything about Stidham?
Stidham.
Anybody know anything about him?
No.
I could tell you he's white because his name is Jared and his last name is Stidham. That's all I know about him. Okay? That's all I know. All I know is this kid's a crack.
Show me a different race of Jared at all. Show me a different race of Jared.
Show me a different race of Stidham. I mean,
Yeah, I think-
Stidham tells me he watches Peaky Blinders every night and probably has a crumpet and a warm glass of tea at some point every afternoon. Like that's that kind of name to me. But the other underlying factor between all this is, what about Brady's BFF? What about Julian Edelman? What is he going to do without his best buddies?
He got left the fuck out, didn't he?
Oh, no. Where's he going to find somebody else to throw 5-yard passes downfield to? I'm like, come on now.
Hey, I'm just saying, I think probably Trevor's on to something here, because he says, Trevor Eternal, Gronk went to Tampa to be closer to a tip he got from Kraft about a great massage parlor, which we all know the Kraft family knows exactly where to go in Florida for a good massage.
Wait a minute. What kind of tip?
Oh, he probably also got Kraft's tip. I'm not going to lie. Edelman being the odd man out, I wonder if maybe there's another trade to be made. If you know you're going to go into the season with Stidham, you know you got a late-round draft pick. They might be taking a Jordan Love, who knows. But I honestly doubt that even he's going to fall that far. You're probably going into the season with the Jared Stidham, or you're going to possibly see where the draft falls if you don't get your guy. Maybe go out and get Cam Newton, who, I mean, it's a possibility that's still on the table. There we go. All right.
Gotta be Ryan.
Whoever did whatever did a great job. But I think that there's a possibility
Ryan.
that you're going to see something along those lines happen. I think if they don't see a quarterback going to them, that Edelman could be trade bait. Derek?
That's weak. That's weak trade bait. I don't want Edelman. I can't think of anybody who does.
It's weaker than Edelman without PEDs, for sure. Absolutely. Probably also weaker than his manlyhood, weaker than his constituency, weaker than everything about Edelman, because fuck that dude directly in the face. I don't think I really need to go.
Julian Edelman is just a
You hate him so bad.
Yes. No, Edelman is a stupid bitch, and literally the only athlete I would ever say, here's my address, come meet me at my front door, I will fight you, and no charges pressed. We can do it in front of a camera. He's my height.
Julian Edelman is literally just a poor man's Wes Welker.
Julian Edelman is a poor man's Wes Welker that was already a poor man's Wes Welker. Julian Edelman licks toilet seats for protein. Julian Edelman takes steroids anally. Okay,
how many poor men are there? I lost count.
There's a lot of poor men. I'm a poor man, so I can speak on poor men because I'm one of them. Okay, so we'll just leave that at that. Speaking of poor things, how about we talk about some of these new uniforms that came out? This seems to be the off-season of redefining your team's uniform. The Patriots just recently released one of their new uniform arrangements. The Chargers just recently released theirs. The Browns, the Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Out of all of those teams that actually revamped their uniforms, Ryan, who do you think had the best uniform out of those, and who do you think had the worst new revamped uniforms out of those?
Out of all the teams that actually revamped their uniforms, the Browns don't fucking count.
For real, they look exactly the fucking same.
We made it a half a shade browner.
I dig that dark blue Chargers, like all dark blue Chargers jersey. I dig it. I mean, I don't know. I'm a hockey guy, so like I'm a big uni guy, but hockey does it way, way different with their alternate uniforms and roads, home games, road games.
Let's talk about hockey the day before the draft, Ryan. Come on, man.
For football, don't they get – what do they get? Is it like a road white or is it just totally random? They get their colors at home?
You can have any amount of alternatives that you want.
See, I'm not used to that. I'm used to you wear white on the road and you get your colors at home. So
the home team in football always picks what uniforms they're going to wear, and then the away team gets to pick it after that.
I will say that I saw some Chiefs ideas being thrown out there. Hated them.
Well,
they didn't look good.
Well, I think I will comment on that once we get to the next portion of this. So you think that the Chargers uniforms are the best of the revamped teams. What do you think is the worst of the revamped teams?
I mean, the Browns, what'd you do? It's the same fucking thing. Like,
you're not wrong.
You're Cleveland. If I owned the Cleveland Browns, I would switch so much shit up to try to just happen into some winning football. I don't know. But yeah, changing the jerseys to whatever they change them to, I don't know. But it looks exactly the same to me. So yeah, fail by Cleveland. Shocker.
So Derek, I'm assuming you, since you brought that up to begin with, already think that Cleveland has the worst uniforms out of all those team changes. What do you think is the best?
As you can see by my background, the best uniforms to come out were the Atlanta Falcons, who are completely identical to the mean machine of the longest yard. I mean, look at you. You got Matt Ryan right here, and you got Todd Gurley right next to him. They look exactly identical. The Atlanta Falcons jerseys are now just officially the mean machine.
Okay.
I love them. I'm all for it, 100%. Mean Machine, Atlanta Falcons, whatever you want to call them. The Browns were the worst. They didn't even change shit. All they did was maybe change the slight hue of brown, and either way, they're the same color as shit, so they're going to suck just as much.
I'm halfway colorblind anyway, so what the fuck do I know about a hue?
I know about a Hugh Jackson, which didn't help the Browns either. So, Derek, you pointing right next to Nelly just showed me there is a stark contrast between your Casper ass and Nelly. I'm sorry, I don't agree that the Falcons have the worst uniforms. Or the best uniforms. I was actually going to put them as the worst uniforms. Reason being, because in contrast to the uniforms they could have switched back to, which actually would have elevated their uniform content, they went with this like watered down version of like the early 2000s uniforms, which were really good ones. Really love the early 2000s and about 2006 to 8, whenever they went ahead and switched it up. I'm sorry, the Falcons, you know what? I'll put them second to last because I think Tampa Bay's are still the worst. Tampa Bay has always had the worst damn uniforms. I don't think the Browns.
I dig the Tampa logo though. The Tampa logo, I dig it. The buck with the knife in his mouth and all that. I mean, the color scheme's a little.
Go back to the 90s, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, you got to look at the creams. You know what, Ryan, as a non-real big football guy, your chore for the night is to look at the creamsicle uniforms of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you tell
me. I will tell you, I'm halfway colorblind, legit. Like, I didn't make it into say.
So I do think, and this might come across as heresy, I do think the best uniform change was actually the Patriots. I don't like what the Chargers did. They put out about 6 different alternate uniforms all at once. I agree with Ryan that the midnight blue kind of looks okay.
Sick, dude.
But that's really the only one that looked good. Every other one to me just looked
shame.
So
you don't sit here and say anything good about the Patriots on a Chiefs podcast. Shame on you.
So I should say something good about a division rival? Yeah. How about you?
I'd
get
rather you say that.
all the way the fuck out of here. Okay.
I'd rather you say that.
Well, Ryan was siding
because none of our division rivals are actually an opponent this year. Like who's gonna challenge us? Drew Lock? Like get the fuck out of here.
You know what? That actually brings up a good segment. Since we didn't really settle on a third one that we really wanted to talk about, maybe we talk about that because I have some things to say about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and make sure you guys get your chance to shine first. Okay. When it comes to the AFC West, looking at where they're at right now pre-draft, who do you think makes the biggest push in the AFC West to try to close the gap between themselves and the Chiefs? I'll start with Ryan.
Ryan has started every time.
Derek, get it.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Ryan, you go ahead first.
Anyways.
Right. Okay, I'll go first. Best
like you do
push.
In bed. Yes.
Best push. You're right. I do that all the time. Best push in the AFC West. I'm definitely counting out the Chargers because they've officially just declared their basically rebuild mode. The Raiders too because I don't know. I'm going with the Broncos. I liked what I saw from Drew Lock. I don't think he'll ever be like a real contender against Mahomes or anything. But if they put a decent defense around him, maybe he could make a push at like a 9-7 season, something like that. Like I don't know. This year I don't think there's any real contenders against the Chiefs. Like I truthfully think that the Chiefs are the new Patriots, and we're just going to run the AFC West for like the next 13 years or whatever, however long Mahomes decides to play.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in the West right now that's going to be like a true gap closer for a while. Drew Lock's not it. I mean, he's probably better than anybody else.
Jesus, Ryan, who is just totally dehydrated in the background there?
His name's Stanko. He's named after a hockey player. Don't worry about him. But yeah, the gap in the West is large, and it's not going to get any closer. Huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
I thought you said a gimpy mask.
Yeah, does Stanko have a gimp mask on? Is that what he's doing?
Don't worry about him. He's French Canadian. He'll be fine. And but
he'll be fine, eh?
Until you can dethrone Mahomes, like even with Mahomes 6-7 years from now, if they completely botch everything and he's just got very average players around him, that might be the only way that you can close the gap. Drew Lock, he's gonna be fun to see where he goes, but it's just not fair right now because it's Patrick Mahomes, and that's a complete homer take for anyone that doesn't really follow sports anywhere. But if you watch just with your eyeballs football, Patrick Mahomes, the gap is so huge that good luck.
So, and I agree to certain regards to everybody's comments there. I do think that the Broncos are the only team to really look out for because I think Drew Lock in a limited sample size getting some time to actually acclimate to some of his receivers, which he doesn't have this year, obviously, with all the Rona stuff going on. That's going to play a big factor. But I do think that Drew Lock is the only unknown as of right now into how he's going to progress from last year into this year. He did have some good games last year when he played the Texans and they basically blew them out. That was a fantastic game on his part. There are some things that you can work on with Drew Lock. The Broncos are doing the right thing. They're bringing in some talent around him. They brought in some offensive pieces, and I think they're going to continue to do so through the draft. I think, in my opinion, they're the biggest contenders, mainly because, one, the Chargers are doing everything they can to make you believe that Tyrod Taylor is going to be their starting quarterback, which, if that's the case, I reference you to like the 2017 Buffalo Bills or whatever year it was that he was playing with them. I'm sorry, that's not going to get you anywhere. I'm sure they're going to take somebody in the draft, but then again, first-year draft, we'll see how that works out. I think the Raiders have the absolute worst quarterback position in the entire division. You're paying over $30 million a year at the quarterback position on your top two guys, and those guys are named Derek Carr. Does that strike fear in anybody's heart? And Marcus Mariota. Does that strike fear in anybody's heart?
They had names like Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper on their team, and they decided to double down on Derek fucking Carr.
And Marcus Mariota. So, I mean, those aren't going to work. That tells me that you're in quarterback purgatory. Not only were you already in it with Derek Carr and his contract, you doubled down on the purgatory by bringing in a Mariota. So, in my opinion, the Raiders still trash. The Chargers have a team that has no quarterback because their roster is not that bad. The Chargers roster could be good if they had a good quarterback. If they had a Carson Wentz, or if they had a comparative to Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan even, they would probably be a pretty decent team that we would be afraid of not afraid, but they would make for actual contention in the division. Without any of that, we all know, based on last year and really some other years prior, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're going nowhere. The modern-day NFL is not centered on defense. It's not 1985 anymore. It's not the 2002 Buccaneers. It's not going to happen. You're not going to win anything without somebody who can actually do something on offense. So, to me,
slightly disagree.
Do what?
A defense is very important these days. I mean,
if you're playing against the franchise quarterback, yes. Defense is so important, Derek, that we were still able to put 51 points up against a Rams defense.
I'm not saying it's the most important thing.
Of their
not
team
saying it's the most important thing. I'm just saying it's important.
Everything is important. Special teams is important. Coaching is important. Positional coaching is important. Drafting is important.
I'd say after franchise QB, defense is the second most important.
It is, and statistically, it's the secondary of your defense that is the most important. You know why? Because quarterback is so important. So,
can I just say,
hold on, here's a good snippet. Trevor says, Taylor better than Locke. Sorry, facts only. Which, I mean, though it might be.
I mean,
right now,
Tyrod Taylor's more seasoned than Locke. It really just depends on how much Tyrod Taylor has left in the tank, because he's more of a mobile quarterback than anything, in my opinion.
I think Locke has a career. I think he'll be a career quarterback, but I don't think Locke is going to be anything better than a Nick Foles mediocre season.
And when it comes back to the regular
Jay Cutler,
to our original point, the gap between Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and everyone else in the West. If you want to argue Taylor's better than Locke or Locke's better than Taylor, that's fine, but it still doesn't change the fact that they have no fucking chance for the next 10 years against Patrick Mahomes, barring catastrophic fucking injury, and that's that.
To this day, I'm actually convinced that Mark Davis fucked John Gruden's wife, and now John Gruden is determined to destroy the Raiders franchise from the inside out.
If any woman were to fuck that man without getting a substantial amount of money in return,
he's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's move into something that we're really excited to do. We're going to bring in our buddy Rone. You can find him at Rone Evans on the Twitter machine. Whenever you're ready to, ask him some questions, we're going to bring him in because we got a round table that we were going to go ahead and have. And Rone, being the mastermind behind this whole thing, and I love the fact that you're sipping on that drink like a true professional, Mr. Rone. Rone, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself since you're the featured guest on this week's episode?
Well, not just a huge Chiefs fan. I've been following Arrowhead guys since they became Arrowhead guys. As far as like getting into any details, I'm a pretty boring dude, man.
Aren't we all?
I doubt that. Look at
just a family guy, loves football and loves talking about football. I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Derek, with a tribute background for Mr. Rone. Look at that. Yeah, it's nice. Look at you, Derek. That's very nice of you.
You're on the Rushmore.
Derek,
You're on the
I
Rushmore.
appreciate you making the best of that green wall behind you.
He really is,
It's
isn't he?
lime green. It was meant for you, Rone. It was meant for you,
It was
Rone.
meant for you. All right, so
I
Derek,
feel truly honored.
Derek had a trade proposition
I did?
in the
Oh,
draft
Yeah, I did.
for Chris Jones.
Okay.
And now
Hold on, let me tell it. You've hosted enough. You take a break and go smoke a cigarette, you fucking addict. Anyways, so there's been a lot of talk the past couple weeks about multiple teams that are willing to trade their first-round picks. The 49ers said they're willing to trade both their first-round picks. The Lions said they're willing to trade, I think it's the third pick. And the Giants said they're willing to trade the fourth pick. Those are just the ones I can come up with off the top. Would you trade, or is it even fair to trade Chris Jones for a top 5 pick or even a first-round pick, and in return we swap first-round picks? So
This is why you don't host.
We would get that team's first-round pick, and we would give them Chris Jones, the number 2 defensive tackle in the league.
Ron, the original question was not a top 5 pick, a top 10
No, it definitely
pick.
was.
I have it
was top
literally in writing that it was not a
got
top
it.
5 pick, but
I
you got it too, Ron. I mean, you've been seeing it. So
All right.
a team that's in the top 10 trading their pick for R32 and Chris Jones, is that something that you would accept as a Chiefs fan? And what would you do with it if you accepted it?
I don't know, man. Every time I think about Chris Jones and the possible of a trade and a good suitor, Detroit is the only team that really comes to mind, just because of the fact that they've got the cap space and they need a D tackle. So you got to find a team who, number one, has the money to pay Chris Jones, because he's wanting, $20 million? Isn't that about right?
Probably
20
So
to
you gotta
22 is what it seems like.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to
I'd
find
assume-
a team that's willing to pay that, and it's willing to take the gamble with giving up possible draft picks or whatever. I mean, to me, Detroit was the only team that kept popping to my mind just because of where they're at. I think they got like 8 or 9 draft picks, but man, that's a tough scenario. And nobody really knows where in the hell this is going to go, just because Brett Veach keeps his cards so close to his chest. So it's all speculation. And my personal opinion, I think he's getting traded. I don't think we're going to sign him. I don't think there's any way that we don't. I think the reason why is mostly because of the fact that Veach needs some draft picks. Now, I know we got everybody coming back basically for the whole team. But I think we kind of got ourselves back up against the wall here a little bit, just because the fact it's so late. So either a deal's done and Veach is just sitting on it, trying not to show his hand, or he gets traded on Thursday.
So to touch on that, first off, I agree with you on almost every one of your points that you made. Something came out today, and I wish I could remember the source so I could cite it. It was an insider, and they were saying that a lot of these package trades, yeah, sure, yeah, the Chiefs insider Tony, a lot of these package trades are already made days, possibly weeks before the draft even takes place. I think there's a potential that Jones is on the draft or on the trade table on draft day. I think there's also a potential that he could be traded right before that, because while we do think him lasting this long on the trade market might back him into a corner, Veach, I mean, at the same time, it might be backing other teams into the corner because we don't know what's going on. Maybe there are competing teams looking for getting a guy like him. And while you named the Lions as what you think would be the best trade partner, the Giants right now have like $76 or $77 million in cap space at this point.
Yep.
They would be a great trade candidate as well, not to mention the fact they have a Dave Gettleman. So you might be able to get more from that organization than any other. But don't get me wrong, the Lions also definitely a potential trade partner. Derek, this was your question. What was your whole thought process?
No, I think
I got to get a beer.
I think it's a very fair trade, because no matter where you're drafting, whether it's top 10, bottom 30, I think we've proved over the years that you're really just taking a shot in the dark on every single player. Like,
what team's going to do it?
I think the Lions would take a chance. I think the Giants would take a chance. They've cleared up a lot of cap space getting rid of OBJ. Like, they got plenty of cap space.
That was 2 years ago.
You got the 49ers. I think they're willing to trade away D Ford and Quan Alexander now, and they're willing to trade their first-round picks, one of the two. I wouldn't want the second. But I think it's a very fair trade, because you're getting a player that has proven to be the second most dominant player in his position in the league, and you're guaranteeing that you're getting him on a long-term deal. Like, you're not taking a chance. You're not taking a chance.
First, we're talking about trading Chris Jones for a first rounder from Detroit or New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or really anybody higher than us, I think.
Well, I mean, they're picking 3 and 4, and they're mocked to take the cornerback out of Ohio State. That
Okuda.
Yeah, there you go, Okuda, because I can read English and stuff. And then the Giants are slated to take Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. So, I mean, we could use a cornerback. And if Detroit's willing to package something up for Chris Jones, are you willing to take a risk on something we need versus something we have now that's proven?
But the thing is, we're talking about if we don't sign Chris Jones to a long-term deal, there's the possibility he may not even play this year. He may pull Le'Veon Bell and just sit out the whole season and refuse the franchise tag.
He does it.
Le'Veon Bell did it. Le'Veon Bell did it.
Le'Veon Bell's not Chris Jones. Le'Veon Bell's Le'Veon.
They were hanging out the last summer and talking about how Le'Veon might come to the Chiefs. Like, they were hanging out together.
I mean,
like,
if you're reading
it's not completely out there to say that two guys that are possibly friends don't think the same way. Like,
hey, another team that would be interesting. Although, when I looked at this, I tried to think, there's no fucking way I want Chris Jones in AFC anywhere. But Miami's got 3 first-round picks. I don't know where they're sitting as far as draft capital goes, or really what their needs are, without geeking into it and pulling up some information on it. But
they're spending a lot of money this year. That's what they're.
I mean, they are in a serious rebuild, and I think they're doing it the right way. But would a big centerpiece in the middle of your defensive line be worth giving up one of your 3 first-round picks and another later-round pick?
I don't think Miami is going to be necessarily in the position that they are going to want to do that anyway. They've already fortified their defense pretty well. I think Miami is probably focusing their attention on using their first-round picks to go up and grab the quarterback that they want. They know they're not going to get Joe Burrow. Whether they're targeting Tua or whether they're targeting, Herbert. I think they're probably trying to do something along those lines. I don't think Miami would be the best trade partner. Now, Trevor at Eternal has a position here. He says you would probably try to trade with Arizona. Arizona is getting to the point where they're going to have to start making some moves, on their defensive side. They've made plenty of moves on their offensive side. He's got a really good point when he says that. Might be a good trade partner. At 8, you're not going to get an Isaiah Simmons, though. And you're not going to get an Okuda. In my opinion, if you're trading Chris Jones, you're looking to get somebody back who's also going to make an impact. I think that the Chiefs need to trade Chris Jones for sure. And that's where I'm at. And it's not just because one of my ass cheeks is on the line, all right? You
don't want him to, but we need to.
Right. I'm on the train that we need to trade him because we need the draft capital and we need to go ahead and backfill the team with young players. If you're not going to get multiple picks,
Patrick Mahomes.
If you're not going to get multiple picks for Chris Jones, then you need to make sure that you get a pick that you're going to be able to take a guy that's going to be able to somewhat, at least in his first year, fulfill his position. And I think if you're not able to land Isaiah Simmons, then you need to be asking for multiple picks. I think you're looking for anywhere in the first from 17 to 24 and then a 2 in the same year. That's just me. I'm not a GM.
What if it gets down to I'm on board with we need to trade him just for the draft picks. But, what if it gets down to where we're at? Like I said, our back is a little bit up against the wall. Veach he's pulled some miracles this offseason. I can't give him nothing but an A. But, would we be happy if we didn't get a 1? What would we be happy with, a pair of 2s or a 2 and a 3? Is it a 1 and only, or?
No,
I would not be happy with anything other than
I wouldn't either.
Chris Jones.
You have to get a 1 this year. You have to, because you have to replace the talent that you're losing with talent that's immediately going to be infused into the team. You have to do that. It has to happen. If you get a top 10 pick, I'll entertain it, because there's other guys that can absolutely affect our defense or offense in a top 10 pick that would, okay, we're going to lose this with Jones, but we can gain it with this guy. There's absolutely those players there. If you're going outside of the top 10, then not only do I want your first, I want a second, or I want a third, or I want a first the following year. And look, this is the other thing here that we got to keep in mind. This is a very weird year for the draft, okay? This year's draft is unlike any other. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiating going on because a lot of these guys in the front offices aren't able to communicate the way that they were during pro days and during workouts and things like that. So we're probably going to see something happen. We just have no clue how it's operating right now.
On that note, they also have to make these deals. In my opinion, they have to make these deals before the draft, because they've been having, from what's been reported, glitches with the draft, and you never trust electronics. You never trust electronics, in my opinion. Like, they're always going to fail you in the long run. Call it the old man in me, but I don't trust electronics. And if I'm sitting here drafting in my basement, like, I'm not taking the chance. I'm making the trades I want to make, and before the draft starts, and then I'm done.
Well, and that's what a lot of GMs do. A lot of these GMs going into the draft, even in regular years, already have what they call packages set up with other teams. My player is here at this pick. This is what I would offer for you to give me this pick. They don't ever exchange what player they're looking for, but that's what they do. I think that's a possibility. I think that Brett Veach is probably – look, the number one key telling thing is this. Brett Veach has already said that he's been in talks with Chris Jones's representatives, but an offer's not been put on the table. Why? It's been 2 years that they've been trying to get something done with Chris Jones, and an offer hasn't been put down on the table? That speaks volumes to me. And I can be absolutely wrong. I've been wrong more times than I've been right. but that does tell me something about what's going on behind the scenes. I do think that Chris Jones and or Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, LDT, is on the trade block on draft day. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what the Chiefs do during that point in time. So we're already starting to get up against it. Now let's go ahead and shift on to our next, well, what basically everybody comes for anyway. Derek, do you want to intro it with your glorious voice?
Mailbag.
Your mic cut out, but it's great because
It works.
behind it.
Mailbag.
I like that your mic has a limiter on it. That's awesome. So,
Yeah, thank you.
so since we have the great Rone Evans on the camera already, Rone, you get to hold on real quick.
Oh, hold on.
There is one point that I want to make sure Trevor is able to get across. He says, and that's at Eternal, interesting things with tech is, say you have storms in Atlanta during the draft. It could screw up the ability to get a pick in. I'm just going to answer it myself real quick. There's still telephones, okay? We all grew up in the age where we had to pick that motherfucker up with a cord on it, all right, and dial in a number. If I think for a moment that the NFL doesn't have a direct hotline in place, established to get those picks in, well, I imagine they do. If they don't, then holy shit, who's running the NFL?
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing out? It's 2020. I know we got the Rona and all that shit, but you still got a fucking phone, so you fucking
Text the dude.
give it Joe Burrow right now. Joe Burrow right now. Give it to me.
All these GMs and stuff complaining about not enough bandwidth and everything else. That's why I'm just like, it's 2,000. Not enough bandwidth.
I bet you spend some of your money.
I'm with Rone. Hey, I'm with Rone because here's the thing. Every one of these GMs gets paid 10 times more in a year than most of us will make in a lifetime. You telling me you can't get some good internet in your house?
Right.
Get right on my
dedicated
back.
server in his basement.
Speaking of Joe Burrow, he played for LSU and now he's getting ready to play for the Bengals. You might say he's the true Tiger King.
Why are you laying in Carol Baskin's lap right now?
Killed her husband.
Now there's a here kitty joke in
There's a here kitty joke somewhere. That's right. All right,
can't convince me that it didn't happen.
We're going to move into the mailbag portion of today's podcast. Derek, just go ahead and do it again.
Mailbag.
All right.
Since apparently
Sinatra,
there's a
nice.
range. There's a range. I can't get too high otherwise.
You can never get too high. All right, Rone, since you're
Yeah,
on
buddy.
the camera, you get the inaugural mailbag question.
Well, this is pretty easy. I'm taking it easy on you.
Oh, nice.
We kind of touched on a little bit talking about the AFC West, but we're kind of trending towards being, the dynasty. We've already been dominating the West, so all these other teams, like you discussed earlier, they're trying to close the gap. To me, the gap, of course, is the biggest at quarterback. We don't know what's going to happen there, but let's just say that the Chargers stick with Taylor and everything kind of stays where it is right now. We're not taking into consideration what they may draft or whatever. But tell me where you think the AFC West standings would be right now. You don't have to get into what the record would be, but I'm kind of curious to see, because to me the other three teams are kind of bunched up pretty tight. The gap between us and the other three is, I think, 4 games at least. But let me know where you think everybody else kind of lands in the rankings.
I mean, if I'm taking you set the over under at 3.5. The Chiefs win 3.5 more games per year, which I think this is where we're going.
No, what he was asking was he thinks between the other 3 teams,
Yeah.
the difference between wins would be in and around 4 games between those 3 teams.
So he's taking the over for the next, Chargers, Donkeys, and Raiders. The gap between us and them is going to be, I'll set it at 3.5 for the next I don't know, 5 years.
I don't think.
What do you mean by 3.5?
I don't think you fully understood the question. I'll go first. I'll go first.
Well, I'm a degenerate gambler, so
I know. I think, Rone, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're asking is, between the other three teams, what of those three teams do you think that there is about a 4-game gap in between those three teams? You obviously think that they're going to fall below the Chiefs, but who do you think the order is between those three teams? Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you, Dave.
yeah.
I should have put it in some kind of weird hockey terminology. Or something.
You should have said it in French Canadian.
Yeah, thank God there's football people on this freaking podcast.
God
It's
dang.
ridiculous. I mean, I have to draw freaking stick people.
Good
You just-
fucking
What do you think?
You just got
What do you
roasted.
think?
You got roasted.
What do you think? Hey, Ryan, who do you think is going to finish second in the AFC West, eh?
All right, well that makes more fucking sense, boys. Why don't you fucking put it in fucking terms we can fucking hear and listen, understanding?
Shove it up your arseholes.
Yeah, right up the fucking arse, eh?
Throw some maple syrup on it, eh?
No, all right. So I mean, I don't know. I'm still taking Denver with Locke. The Chargers and the Raiders. I'd have to take the Chargers. The Raiders are a fucking shit show. I think the Raiders are going to be really bad for a while. So it'd be Chiefs, and I still don't know if I'm answering this right. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders. We'll go that route, and that's my answer.
All right, Derek, what you got?
What do I got, you ask? I'll tell you what I got. Now, so the Chargers, to me, are completely out of it. Their defense is still pretty decent, but now they're going to be dealing with either a rookie or just a terrible quarterback. And even if they get a decent rookie, it's going to be a year or two before he's actually producing decent numbers. So I'm going with Drew Lock. I stuck with him earlier. I'll stick with him now. Still got Von Miller and couple defensive players. I'll go with Derek Carr, and the Raiders are going third in the AFC West, and the Chargers are going fourth. Broncos, Raiders, Chargers.
Yeah, so you're kind of like me. You don't sound confident in any of
Well,
That's
the
kind of
thing
way
is,
I
I
am. It's
mean,
just like,
Drew
there's
Lock.
us, and then there's everybody else.
Well, I mean, Drew Lock, I like him so far, but at the same time, Derek Carr has the experience. He's got the veteran status, so it's completely possible if John Gruden does anything at all, he could put together some sort of season that could challenge the Broncos.
Drew Lock has time to grow. Like, he's very, very new. Carr is not new, and he hasn't really fucking grown. Like, he's just the same kind of fucking
Yep.
Drew Lock could be fucking something special. We don't know yet. Like, Derek Carr's proved that he's just kind of
And I disagree. He had 0 weapons last year. His head coach traded away all his weapons, which look out for Deshaun Watson to pull a Derek Carr now that his coach is trading away all his weapons.
No. Deshaun's always been better than Carr. But if you want...
He's better, but when you trade away all his weapons, what are you supposed to do as a quarterback?
You're supposed to do what Patrick Mahomes did with Albert Wilson and Anthony Sherman, and you're supposed to show that you're able to lead a team to victory over the other team's starters with players of that caliber. That's what you're supposed to do as somebody who makes almost $30 million a year, okay? That's what you're supposed to do.
Real quick, Ryan.
If you're a franchise quarterback.
And Ryan, if you say that Derek Carr is meh, for 2 straight seasons, Derek Carr threw for 32 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. The next season, he threw for 28 and 6. So if you say that's meh, we have had several seasons on the Kansas City Chiefs where we would have loved those stats. We would have loved them.
If you want to get into fucking stats,
I haven't got a chance to talk yet.
Look at Alex
Fuck
Smith's
you.
stats. Look at Alex Smith.
Alex Smith was a good quarterback. I still think he's a good quarterback.
You hated Alex Smith when he was here.
Quarterback.
Fuck you. I'm calling you out on that. I'm calling you out on that.
Burden of proof is on you, bitch.
Yeah. If I got my old phone, I can show all the text messages.
Yeah, well, find your old phone. Otherwise, it's just hearsay, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
I got aggressive and I apologize.
Somebody drank too many White Claws, okay?
Yeah, get pretty aggressive. But no, Alex Smith, he's a good quarterback. He's always been a good quarterback. Like he's a clock manager quarterback though, and I fully believe that if you put really, or whatever, that's bait. That's bait, and I'm not buying it.
I didn't say that. I did not fucking say that.
No, I'm talking to him, Ryan. Shut up. Anyways, no, Alex Smith, I fully believe that if you gave him a top 5, possibly top 10 defense, I fully believe that he could win a Super Bowl. I mean, for God's
we had a
sakes,
top 2 and a top 4 defense while he was here playing with us.
Dave, you really want to go out
win a
there
Super
and
Bowl.
say that many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls? It's not a guaranteed science, but for God's sakes, Dave, Trent Dilfer won a fucking Super Bowl. You want to say Trent Dilfer is better than Alex Smith?
Great. He had an all-time.
You want to say that Trent Dilfer is better than Alex Smith? You go on record right now and say it. Exactly. Yeah.
Trent Dilfer actually won a Super Bowl. Alex Smith couldn't do it with a top 2 or a top 4 defense. Take it for what you want.
Alex Smith is a good quarterback. I don't care what you say.
Alex Smith is the equivalent of Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater can get to a Super Bowl if he has literally every other piece around him playing at the top of their absolute talent. If you don't have all those pieces playing at the absolute top of their absolute talent, he's not winning a Super Bowl because it's not him guiding them to a Super Bowl. Derek, what is Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, early Tom Brady with Randy Moss, basically the only time. These Drew Brees, what do these quarterbacks do? They overcame team weaknesses. Yes, absolutely. Alex Smith could win a Super Bowl. Sure. Tyrod Taylor could win a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman could win a Super Bowl. But it all comes down to
all I'm saying is
around them. Do you want to have to sit there and stack a bunch of pieces around a mediocre quarterback, or find your quarterback and stack some mediocre pieces around them?
Right. See what the problem really is that as Chiefs fans, we suffered for so long with just mediocre, maybe a good offense for a while and shitty defense, maybe a good defense while and a shitty offense, but we never could get anywhere, and we just kind of treaded water. And so that any time that we had a quarterback or some players that were maybe above average or kind of peaked for a year or two, we overrate them is what we do.
Well, we think that our running back is gonna win the Super Bowl. We think that a really good defensive line is gonna win a Super Bowl. We think an Eric Berry is gonna help us win a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, the guy that puts the ball in his hand every single offensive snap is the one that's gonna win the Super Bowl, and it was literally just proven. So Tell me I'm wrong, Derek. Tell me I'm wrong. Anybody tell me I'm wrong. It's the truth.
Hey,
I don't think you're wrong. I think the playoffs are a very situational experience. I think it's very situational.
Yeah,
there are one or two plays in just this past playoffs that the Chiefs wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if those plays hadn't happened. And I think the 49ers were just as good a team as the Chiefs. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't suck ass and overthrow Emmanuel Sanders by a mile, we would have had to fall back by another 3 points. I mean, it's just that close.
Yeah,
I mean,
man,
there's always situations
11, so.
where there's always after that play, but there's always situations that things happen. And that's all I'm saying. Alex Smith could win a Super Bowl. Not saying it's impossible. Not saying it's favorable, but he could.
Yeah, I could also win a Super Bowl. All right.
No, you couldn't. Absolutely not. That's the one statement that's been made that is not true. You 5'2" fucking dwarf.
I'm not 5'2". Me and Doug Flutie are the same height, and that motherfucker didn't win a Super Bowl. But he did great things with Buffalo. Hey, Rone, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We're going to go ahead and go on to the next motherfucker to come on and ask a question. And you know what? Everything that you brought to the table today, very much appreciate. We will see you again next week, I'm assuming.
Always, every week, buddy.
Hey, let the people know where they can find you on the Twitter if you want.
You can find me on the Twitter, on the interweb at Rone Evans, RoneEvans. I'm on Facebook too, although, just because I'm old and I still have Facebook. But hit me up on Twitter. Love to hear from you guys. Dave, Ryan.
Thank you, Ron.
Hey,
Derek, a little bit.
Derek,
Derek, a little bit. Wow.
No, hey.
You know what? You're off my Mount Rushmore, you fuck.
Hey, Rone
Peace
is
out.
one hell of a good follow. Everybody should definitely give him a follow. Make sure you do.
A follow.
A follow. I said a follow, motherfucker.
There was a B in there. Thank you, Ron.
Give him a follow. He's an absolute.
I'm about to
great
go
guy.
on.
And he also is one of my favorite people that retweets basically everything that you could possibly think of when it comes to Chief stuff. So if you missed anything, that's the one to go with. Now we're going to Guy Fox at Eternal 2009. That is
correct.
That is correct. Okay. Eternal.
Just for you, Ron, I found my mask. But I can't wear it because it's very uncomfortable.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Eternal. This dude is absolutely another awesome follow on Twitter. Make sure you follow him. That's ETURNAL 2009. He's hilarious, and I definitely am so proud to be able to listen to all of his shit. Eternal, you got some fun stuff to say. You also have a stalker in the background, I see.
That's my wife, Jessica.
Hey, my wife's name is Jessica.
I know that.
You married your stalker? Good fucking job, bud.
That's just smart.
Way to
Wait a minute.
safe.
We need to have a conversation.
That's just smart.
I think they share the same birthday, too.
Oh, shit.
When the stars align, man.
6'5"?
Oh, okay. No, never mind. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Thank God. Thank God. I already got it.
Are you thinking April 26th?
No, I thought December.
Oh.
There's someone on here that I know that has a December birthday, 23rd or something, and hers is close to that. So I was really surprised. But before I get to my question, I can't believe you guys are discounting the Chargers. They almost beat us twice last year with Phillip 15 interceptions a game Rivers.
Hall of Famer.
Almost is the key
Hall of
word.
Famer.
Almost. They always almost beat us. Come on.
Well, Drew Lock wasn't even close.
Valid. But Drew Lock is a unknown quarterback commodity.
You just like him because he's from Missouri.
Huh?
You just like him because he's from Missouri. Rock chalk.
That's fair.
Oh, you got to come in here with the fucking rock cock. Okay. All right. Fine. All right.
I went to Park University. Go Pirates.
There you go.
I smoked a lot of weed when I was a kid, so
I went to the Navy.
Me too.
Go Navy.
Go Navy. My question is, how much do you think, if we have to play in a empty stadium, which is complete BS, they're way overdoing this stuff. But anyway, how much is that going to affect the Chiefs? I mean, I can think of two teams that it legitimately would affect, and that would be Kansas City and Seattle. But
I agree with that.
I mean, since one of you, I don't remember which one, said you were a gambler, there's got to be a point over and under you could put on there. Yeah, Ryan. Okay, hockey
I
dude.
can't move my finger that way. There we go. That guy.
But there's got to be a point total that would shave, an empty stadium.
Well, Vegas always gives the home team 3 points.
Yeah.
And yes, I do think those, stadiums obviously would suffer from it. I think that if everybody though was on an even keel, and every game was played without fans, I'm not really sure how much. I mean, we've heard multiple times from our defense, especially. They buy into the crowd fare. They buy into the fanfare. It helps, get them up. So if it's the same for our defense, I would assume it has to be the same for every other team that has a decent crowd in their stadium's defense. I do think that we would lose a vast majority of when it came to momentum driven by fanfare. I agreed with your teams. That's why I was saying Seahawks when you said Seattle, because in my opinion, those two stadiums are definitely the ones that get the most emotion. But I wonder, and I don't have an answer, I guess I wonder, would that change if they always had to play an empty stadium? So I'll throw it off to Derek. Derek, what do you got on that?
Well, first of all, I want to go on record of saying they're not going to play in an empty stadium. That would cost them so much more money than what it would gain them.
Oh, Derek just opened up a new fucking
You're
question.
paying players' salaries.
There we go. No, I'm sorry. Dude.
Wrong direction. No.
No, I think you're wrong. Hey, put it this way. If they played in empty stadiums, but they said that we were going to play mic'd up, how fun would that be? That now
I mean, it would be fun. I just don't think that as many fans would tune in. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Are you not going to watch the Chiefs if they played in an empty stadium?
I mean, it depends on what I had going on that day. Maybe I got to go to Home Depot or something.
Yeah,
maybe I got to go to Home Depot
maybe
or
you're
something.
gonna
I don't know. There's a lot of
I don't know.
There's a lot of dads out there that got things going on the weekends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
But anyways, if we played, really, I've always personally thought that the crowd noise kind of went against our defense a little bit, because there's been several situations I've seen where the loud crowd, because the defense has to communicate just as much, and they use hand signals a lot more than the offense does. But at the same time, yeah, it's
offense communicates way more than defense does.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying the defense also communicates, and there's been several instances.
Off alignment.
And there's been several. Are you going to let me finish?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad.
But anyways, there's been several instances where the Chiefs are in, like, I don't know, third and long situations I've seen where the crowd noise seemed to have not worked in our favor. And I'm not saying that we'll be completely screwed over if we don't have it, but at the same time, I'd rather have it.
So would you not watch games if there were no fans in the stands? That's the impression that I just got from everything that you just said.
It depends on the game. If I'm watching the Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions,
shit.
Thank you, Ryan.
If I'm watching the Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions, or some other,
really, because that was one of the better games last year.
Pretty good game.
Damn good game. Came down to the wire.
An away game.
I'm not gonna watch the Jets versus fucking Miami for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But my home team?
It depends on the game. It depends on the game.
So with no fans in the stand, right? We're all completely fucking addicted to sports. Football is the main one. We're all gonna watch the fucking games. Like stands full, empty, whatever. Like people are talking about like selling certain amounts of tickets to where you can like sit people like 6 feet. Get the fuck out of here. You're either not selling tickets or you are selling tickets. And the fucking likely scenario is that you're not selling tickets. We are going to watch a full season of NFL football with 0 people in the stands, and it is going to get fucking ratings. Crazy fucking ratings. I guarantee you. I don't even like football that much. I'm still going to watch it. I'm going to watch fucking games that aren't Chiefs games. And like we talked about this before, Dave, like this is a novel kind of aspect of like watching like North American sports games with nobody in the stands is going to be like the story of 2020. Don't miss out. Don't fucking be the guy that was like, yeah, fucking quit watching sports because you didn't have fucking fans, and your kids are asking you like, well, what the fuck happened in 2020? You're like, fuck, I don't know, because I'm fucking didn't watch. Shut up. You're going to fucking watch. Everything's going to be fine. There won't be
yes.
You're going to watch.
Everybody will watch the first like quarter.
Sports. We haven't had
first.
What's the difference? The game is still the game. And you know what? In my opinion,
but once the Chiefs start blowing them out, you're going to tune out.
No, I watch them blow people out.
I just think you all are greatly underestimating.
You're going to watch to see what Mahomes might do.
And Trevor Trevor,
Let me
you are fucking
just say.
on it because you called me a gambler, which I am. Vegas is going to fucking dictate this whole fucking thing. When the lines start moving and fucking no fans are like, little things like the Chiefs don't have fans in the stands for the defense, this and that. Lines are going to start moving in Vegas. You can't bet on shit right now in Vegas. You can fucking bet on like when fucking Beyonce is going to
Put your
shit her
hand down.
pants in public.
I'll put my goddamn hand up. You know why? Because here's the thing. You know what they're going to do to make this whole broadcast more televisable, something that people that do want to watch? They're going to make sure you hear everything that these players are saying to the other players, like the opposing players. And quite frankly, that's why you literally go on YouTube and find the mic'd up versions. That's why you do that kind of thing. You want to hear the things on the field. You want to hear.
Oh, you're going to hear it.
You're going to get it, and you're going to get a season of football that you've never had before. You're going to get inside information you've never had before, and you're going to fucking love it because it's different, but the same sport at the same time.
You know what? I mean, if I'm sitting here watching the Chiefs blow out some team like 42-7, yeah, I'm gonna tune out because one of the things that I tune into the Chiefs to hear is Arrowhead's fucking roar every time there's a big play or a touchdown. That's what made me love the Chiefs. That was what made me love Arrowhead. That's why I don't root for the fucking Chargers. Like the Chargers have played amongst zero fans all season. Like who's following them? Like tell me that. Like
okay, their fan base will absolutely follow the broadcast. But what I'm saying is, no, I didn't follow the Chiefs because of the roar of the stadium. No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, sorry. That was
Jesus.
Yeah, my bad.
How'd lunch taste the second time?
Actually, pretty good. Not gonna lie. Double stack or some Wendy's. I'm pretty good with that. But what I am saying is this: I didn't just love the Chiefs because I went to a game one time and the roar was great. I love the Chiefs for a multitude of factors. No, it was one of the factors, but I'm not going to stop watching them because one of those the only factor you could take away from the Chiefs that will make me not watch them is if you took Patrick Mahomes out. That's it. If we're winning,
in other words, you follow a player, not the team.
Derek, if we were winning 42-7 in the fourth quarter and they took Patrick Mahomes out, then yes, I would not tune in anymore. You're right. Because
I don't know.
we're going to win. But
I'm just the type of guy that I think
hold on, Trevor, let Trevor talk. He ain't got a chance to talk yet.
I'd said I'd watch that Jordan Tiamo dude from the XFL. We're going to flip him for like a second-round pick in a year or two.
He's going to be our Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, under Andy. Yeah. No, it's a really good point, actually. I mean, the guy has some traits. He's not Patrick Mahomes. Don't anybody get it twisted. But he's got.
He would have been
traits.
drafted if he was.
He was drafted, actually. He got cut from his team. He has traits that if the right coach got a hold of him, a Bruce Arians, or I hesitate to say Cliff Kingsbury, but he is the guy who coached Mahomes. But anyway, under the right coaching, Sean Payton, he might. You never know. I can see us showing him off a little bit, and then here in like a year or two, maybe flipping him to the Saints for a fourth-round pick to back up whoever they have as quarterback. That's worthy of taking a guy that costs you absolutely nothing to get him. So Trevor has a point. Tiamu is a work in progress, but if Reed can do what he does and get the best out of his quarterbacks and show you, hey, he's capable of doing this, you just have to be capable of coaching it out of him as well. I could see Sean Payton or a coach like that, maybe even a Pete Carroll.
Just call Bill O'Brien. He'll give you a second round. Just tell him he can run.
No, Bill's going to give you a first and Deshaun Watson and probably Will Fuller and take him to be his background quarterback, okay? No, Bill O'Brien is absolutely the worst damn fucking general manager that's ever been. Right, sorry.
I think we could all agree on that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything there. So
there's no argument there.
All right, well, I'm going to wait for Anthony to give his question. And in the meantime, I will give our one Twitter question, which God damn, you guys, just one. That's really mean. Hey, you know what, Trevor? You can sit on it and answer this one, okay?
Alrighty.
This comes from at Corey04. I know who it is, but damn, I don't like your handle there. Anyway, have you ever been big timed by anyone in the Chiefs Kingdom?
What do you think, Ryan? On a scale of maple syrup to Tim Hortons, how many times have you been big timed?
10 pointings. Did you say 10 pointings?
Tim Hortons. Tim
Oh,
Hortons.
Who the fuck? What do you know about Tim Horton?
I know they got some great jellies up in there.
Yeah. No, I'm a nobody. I get big timed all the time. Fuck am I?
Yeah, I've never
Okay.
been big timed. Actually, no, I take that back. I have been big timed once. It was by Priest Holmes. I tried to dab him up. He was like, nah. And yeah.
You know, I
At
go
that
like.
point, I stopped being a Priest Holmes fan. I was
No, I go.
Dude, I was like fucking 14 when Priest Holmes was playing. What were you?
And I was like 9.
I'm not
You don't
dabbing up
turn
a
down.
9-year-old.
You don't turn down your 9-year-old fans.
Jamal Charles wouldn't have done it.
Jamal Charles was.
Depending
Jamal
on
Charles
how
wanted
you
to be a
were
Bronco
this
for
way,
life.
yeah.
So
He just said that. He didn't really mean it.
I don't know.
Oh, hey.
I take words to heart, and Tony
was
G
high.
wanted.
I
Tony
did
G
get-
wanted to be a Falcon
No,
for
fuck
life,
that.
and
I believe that.
and
See, Tony
Jamal
G-
wanted to be a Bronco for life. So that's what you get.
Tony G in like 4th grade came to my school and like played basketball with me and shit. I was like, holy fucking Tony G's the shit. And then like a kid I grew up with, shout out Scotty Smith, fuck you. He like is a like a bench goalie for the fucking Mavericks and like fucking big time the shit out of me one time. Like, oh yeah, nice loafs, nice fucking kicks, bud. Nice pads. What are you gonna fucking throw them in a fucking waffle iron? And I was like, all right, Scotty, I get it. I have old pads.
Hey, Scotty doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
No, he don't.
Scotty
See?
knows, but
Don't tell Scotty. that
Don't tell
doesn't
Scotty.
know.
fuck that. Tell him to fucking watch this. Fuck you, Scotty. Personally.
All right.
Fucking Fiona, that cheating bitch.
Things got real quick.
He's gonna see this at some point and be like, yo, you're a fucking idiot. But good job by you.
And for those who don't know Ryan, and what grade were you in
Which grade?
when Tony G came?
Oh, like 4th grade.
Okay, so Ryan was about 6'4" at the time, and about $120.
Yeah, I've shrunk since then.
No, more like
I've
98.
come down a bit.
Not a buck 20. 98.
98. $120 is heavy.
Yeah,
Stiff left, baby. Bam!
All right.
And this is how we diss Ryan. Damn.
And so the follow-on question is, was it ever Anthony that ever big-timed you? My answer will be this. Oh, actually, I did an interview with Larry Johnson about a year ago, so he didn't big-time me.
You got drunk with Larry Johnson.
I
He's
did.
out here name dropping.
Yeah, well, it's the only person I know that was important that ever was like, yeah, dude, I'll talk to you. I'm like, cool, dope.
Did he talk to you about the lizard people?
He did not. I didn't ask those particular questions. More running back questions than anything.
Oh,
And from the story I heard,
Dave
Dave got drunk, insulted Larry Johnson within 2 minutes of meeting him, and then somehow managed to make friends with him. So, hey, kudos to you.
Within 30
Kudos to you.
seconds of meeting him, I had said something about like, well, fuck him if he ain't coming. Fuck this dude. And then all of a sudden he walked in and was like, hey, Larry. Yeah, that's how it happened. We ate some really good barbecue.
Nah, I don't got nothing. I didn't even put out one.
Tuesday.
I completely forgot. Not going to lie.
Draft coming up. Stay tuned. We'll give you all the information and all that fun shit. And it's going to be a wild fucking episode next week. I'm sure of it.
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys for joining us for our inaugural.
Hold up. I'm trying to figure out if this is a joke or not. I just got a message saying breaking news: Julian Edelman traded to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I doubt.
I'm trying to decide. I mean, it could be. It could be.
Is it on Twitter? God damn it, Derek. Damn it.
I don't know. I don't know if this is real or
Well,
not.
we drag this on, Trevor. Fucking A, man. Thanks for coming on. Rone.
Thanks for
right,
doing this.
Thanks
We'll
for coming
get to
on.
it. We'll get to Julian Edelman next time.
We'll continue to try to make this thing a very easy thing to go and join. I want to thank everybody that played a part today. Mark Santani, Rone Evans, Trevor at Eternal 2009. You guys are all amazing. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Sauced Up Sports. And make sure you tune in to arrowheadguys.com. Hey, anybody got anything to say on the way out?
Yeah, I do. We love you. We out.